This module is all about advanced resource manipulation. That makes this the ideal time to look into two important principles from the HTTP standard: method safety and method idempotency. A method is considered safe when it does not change the resource representation. For example, get and head are considered safe. Mind you, that doesn't mean that other types of manipulation can't happen as a result of performing a GET request. Behind the service layer, your API might update a few fields in related tables. But the resource representation itself shouldn't change. And if those side effects happen, these were not requested by the consumer of the API. A method is considered idempotent when it can be called multiple times with the same result. In other words, the side effects of calling it once are the same side effects that happen when calling it multiple times. Let's have a look at how this maps to the table we ended up with when talking about routing. Get is both safe and idempotent. It doesn't change the resource representation, and when you call it multiple times, the same results are returned. Options and head follow the same logic. Post is none of these. It causes changes in resource representations because it creates them. And if we call post multiple times, multiple resources should be created. Delete isn't safe. The resource representation changes as the resource is deleted. But it is idempotent. Deleting the same resource multiple times has the same result as deleting it once. Put for full updates isn't safe either. If you update a resource, its representation might change. But it is idempotent. Updating the same resource multiple times results in the same representation as updating it once. And lastly, patch for partial updates is neither safe or idempotent. We will learn that through patch it is easy, for example, add items to an array, which results in different representations if you do that multiple times. And all of this is not just some theory. It helps us decide what we are allowed to do with each method. We're building a RESTful API that uses these HTTP methods. And that's a standard, so we should correctly implement it, so other components we might use can rely on this being correctly implemented. We already had a quick look at which method to use for what type of action previously. From what we learned here, we now know the reason behind why we should, for example, not use get to create a resource. That would make it both unsafe and non-idempotent, which is a direct violation of the standard. So, if you ever wonder what method to use for which use case, this is an important table to come back to and check. We'll continue with inspecting the post actions currently in our solution, and we will learn how we can improve them